workout. This month I had planned to talk about miracles. All month is Miracle Month. And now with the unfolding of the information about our space, it's an opportunity for us to look at miracles. So I think that's just divine, the way the Spirit works. So today I'm talking about the miracle of the Roadrunner. I know. So first off, I want to make sure that everybody understands that Roadrunners are real creatures. They are not cartoon characters, necessarily. And they are such characters. Roadrunners are totems for my family, the women, the lineage of my family. So I want to tell you a little bit about them. They're predominantly, they live in southern part of the states that are desertous, and they are roadrunners because they can run up to 18 to 20 miles an hour. They're aerodynamically designed to run that fast, and their little legs are so scrawny, but they can run. They're characters. And that's why I think that their totem for my family is because they're so quirky. They belong to the cuckoo family. So there you go, right offhand, to know what that's about. My grandmother, Hetty R., loved Roadrunners, and she had a small collection of these horrible, garish, painted things that were supposed to be Roadrunners. And she kept them in her china cabinet with all of her fine china and these garish, ugly Roadrunners. But she loved them. Now here's the deal about them. They're cuckoos, so they have this really weird sort of call. It's not even a song. And while they are birds, they don't often fly. The most that they fly is perhaps to the top of a fence post or atop of a cactus. And they're really not good at parenting. So what they do is they lay their eggs in other birds' nests and get them to hatch the eggs for them. Once more, I think it's interesting that they're my family totem. Just saying. So the other part of it is that farmers and ranchers in the southern states that are in the desert, Arizona, New Mexico, lower parts of Texas, will keep roadrunners as pets because they catch small creatures, mice, and also rattlesnakes. Now, this is what they do. They're so cunning. They'll dance around with their wings out in the air, and so when a rattlesnake strikes, the rattlesnake is striking just like a toreador, you know, just like nothing there. So the roadrunner will catch the rattlesnake, and it'll bash its head against the rocks, and then eat part of it. But it only can digest part of it, so for an extended period of time, it runs around with this rattlesnake hanging out of its mouth. It's my family totem. So, it has grown to a warm affection in my family. And so when my mother, Tiger, had her 90th birthday, let me just say, back up and say, that you don't see them very often. And you certainly don't see them in town. They're country birds. They're territorial, and they got like 7 miles of territory. But they're rather rare. So, my mother's 90th birthday, we came home from her birthday party in the middle of town, and up on her roof was this Roadrunner running across the roof. Now the thing about it is, that's way high for a Roadrunner to ever get to. And we'd been in that house, my mother had been in that house for close to 45 years and never seen a Roadrunner. But on the day of her birthday, it ran across the roof. And she said, "That's my mother coming to tell me happy birthday." It was so sweet and unusual. Years and years of being in that house with this territory, and here comes a Roadrunner on the roof, which is way high, on her birthday. And then I'm going to tell you about the day of her death. So after she died, my sister and I were sitting on the porch behind the lilac trees, because that's where she loved to sit. And in the day when her vision was really good, she could sit behind the lilac trees and watch all of the neighbors coming through doors. So the day she died, the lilac tree was in full bloom. And my sister and I were there enjoying the lilac blooms and smelling the flowers. And without coming and going, there were hundreds and hundreds of little white butterflies all over the lilac tree. They just suddenly appeared, fluttered about. It was amazing. And I said to my sister, wouldn't it be lovely if we saw a Roadrunner? But we didn't. Just these beautiful little teeny butterflies in the lilac bush. So, my mother, Tiger we called her, she didn't want a memorial service, but we disregarded her wishes on that score. And so we had a memorial service in her home, and it was crammed full of people. Because she hadn't wanted a memorial service because she didn't think anybody would come, but they did. And after the service itself, and we were having snacks, the family was all together, and it had been the first time that the family had all been together for a long time. So we went out in the front yards to get our photos taken. And guess what photo bombed us? A Roadrunner. Now it had been 7 years since the last sighting of a Roadrunner in that house, up on the roof. But on the day of my mom's memorial service, here it came. I consider that a miracle. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about the miracle of the Roadrunner. Was it a miracle? I think so. All of this month I'm going to be talking from a book called The Shortcut to a Miracle by Michael Rand and Elizabeth Rand Arrett. And what they say a miracle is, I'm going to read it to you. A miracle is a series of natural events occurring in the right sequence and the right time to produce wonderful results. So based on that definition of a miracle, I'm thinking that the Roadrunner running across and being involved, photobombing my mom's memorial service was a miracle. So, a miracle is a series of natural events occurring in the right sequence and at the right time to produce wonderful results. So, we can think about how miracles occur. And they're not some extraordinary happenstance, but they're natural events that occur in a particular cycle sequence. And Rand and Eric say that there is a law of miracles, the hidden law of miracles, and those are the law of co-creation, consciousness manifests, and dominant thoughts prevail. So let me say that again. Consciousness manifests and dominant thoughts prevail. So when we take that and just apply it to our philosophy, we can just say that what you think is what you get. What you think is what you get. And I know I say that and I talk about it, and yet we don't quite get it. That our thoughts are creative. What we think is what shows up in our lives. And then we say, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. And the yes, but, the but part of it is what we really believe. So when we disclaim that our thoughts are creative, we are absolutely disclaiming and claiming what we disclaim. Does that make any sense? What you think is what you get. That's the whole idea. That's the shortcut to miracles. So, if we change our thinking, we change our lives. And that's as simple as it is and as complex as it is. Because your dominant thoughts are the creative thoughts. So recently in this community, we have, the women's group has been talking about a complaint-free life. So when we live a complaint-free life, we are creating the things that we choose to live. When we live in gratitude, we are creating a life that we choose to live, because dominant thoughts are what show up. It's as simple as that and as complex as that. When we really get clear on it, that there are no yes buts. There are no yes buts. That's the truth. We're creating our own reality with our thoughts. And that's where the miracles happen. In that place. Now, you know, people say, oh, you've got to be real. You've got to be realistic. Well, that's the reality. That's the reality. And now quantum physics is showing us that. We have all sorts of evidence that on the quantum level, that the thinker is creating reality. It cannot be any other way. But we keep persisting in the old way of thinking. The yes buts. You've got to be realistic. Well, that's realism. It's time for us to change our thinking so that we can change our lives, to get rid of the old habits. You know, there's the all kinds of experiments, the double-blind, double-slit experiment, and when the thinker is influencing the outcome of the experiment. That's quantum physics. That's where it is right now. So, the more we're able to align our thinking with what we want, the more fully empowered we become, and the more transformed our lives become. Let me say that again. The more we're able to align our thinking with what we want, the more fully empowered we become, and the more transformed our lives become. So when we control our thoughts, when we choose our thoughts, then miracles start happening. When we choose our thoughts, miracles start happening. So how are we gonna use that as far as this community goes? Finding our space. Just knowing that our space is available to us at a price that we can afford is creative. And in a day, a week, soon, we'll all be able to go and say, oh, wow, that's a miracle. Well, yeah, and I'm going to say it. I am not above it. I'm going to say, yeah, I told you so. Trust me on that. Our place is waiting for us. And look at how powerful we all are. When we come together and we say, our perfect place is available to us now, that is the truth. And it's going to show up for us. It is showing up for us right this moment. It cannot be otherwise. So the Rand and the Arnett are at, they have 5 points for miracle-making attitude. Okay, so here we go. 5 points for a miracle-making attitude. Miracles unfold according to universal law. And what is the universal law? The universal law is that consciousness manifests and dominant thoughts prevail. What you think is what you get. That's the first law of miracle making. The second is that your miracle is possible. Everything is possible in the mind of the divine. In that place where our conscious mind meets the subconscious mind, which is where God is, all things are possible. Miracles are possible. Your miracle is possible. And I'm not just talking about for us as this congregation. I'm talking about for you. Whatever you want to see show up in your life is possible. It cannot be otherwise. What you're thinking on, what you're focusing on, when I say to you, what you want right now is possible, check your thinking. Are you saying, yeah, bud? Because that's where it's going to show up for you. The yeah, buts show up. Your miracle is possible. The third one is, your miracle is never too big. The whole universe of energy and matter is conspiring to create for you whatever you desire. Nothing is too big, as long as you believe it. As long as you believe it. So give the butts the boot, as I say. Stand in your miracle. Nothing is too big for it. The universe is conspiring to give you whatever you long for. As long as you think about it, as long as you entertain it, as long as you hold that in your consciousness, as long as you believe it. The fourth is, you play a major role in bringing about your miracle. Well, duh. You're it. You're not the major role, you are it. It cannot be otherwise. As long as you believe it, it is so. It is done. I know I harp on this. I know you're tired of hearing it. But it is the truth. And we all have our yes buts. I don't know. Yes, but we're not good enough. Yes, but that's not reality. Yes, but that's not the truth. Yes, but you haven't lived my life. Yes, but you just don't know how horrible things are. Oh my God, the world's falling apart. You're just not realistic, Rebecca. Yes, but I am. Yes, but I am realistic. Those that think that that's not reality are the ones that are out of step. Our consciousness creates our reality. And there is a place, a space, where our thoughts determine the outcome. What the scientists thought about the double slit experiment was what the experiment turned out. Matter was either a wave, it was either energy, or it was matter. And whatever the experimenter expected was what it got. The stuff of the universe was anxious to fulfill their experiment. So whatever they were going to look for is what showed up. How can that be? It can be because consciousness creates reality. This is the stuff that is the making of miracles. And still we persist in pretending like we've got no control over our lives. You know that you have said, I know that I have said, oh, well, that's just my luck. Yeah, it is just your luck, because that's just how you created it. Listening to other people, you absolutely can hear and know how their lives are going to turn out. Yes? You can hear it. You can hear the sadness, you can hear the misery, you can hear the martyrdom. Yeah, it's just my luck. Yeah, it is just your luck. And you can hear other people's stuff, can't you? The question becomes then, are you listening for your own stuff? Are you hearing your own limitations, your own lacks, your own negative beliefs? Are you listening to yourself? So those two things that really are powerful, that we teach in this community, that we come back to, that I keep saying, and that is, what you think is what you get. Living a life from a place of gratitude creates more and more and more good for you. Living a place that you are not critical, that you're not finding faults, that you're not seeing what's wrong in the world, creates more and more and more good. That's the place that miracles show up. The expectation of good, the celebration of good, the joy of gratitude. That's how we create miracles in our lives. Through natural laws, through natural sequence of events, for good. Now the question is then, do you feel like you deserve miracles in your life? And that's the fifth point. Do you feel you deserve miracles in your life? Or is there a yes, but? Yes, but that'll never happen to me. Yes, but I can't get it to work for me. Yes, but you don't know how miserable my life is. Yeah, but I don't. But I do know that you deserve miracles in your life. I do know that there are not too big a miracle to expect to happen to you in your life. I do know that you deserve all of the good that there is. So, for the next month, sorry, I'm going to be talking about this. I'm going to be talking about miracles. And I'm going to be talking about how miracles are modern. They're still happening. They're not something from Jesus and Moses and all of the old guys. They're day-to-day things that show up in our lives. This community deserves miracles. This community deserves miracles. And each one of us deserves miracles in our lives. A natural sequence of events that are joyful, that cause us to be happy and joyful. So that's what I'm going to be talking about this whole month. You can either say, yeah, but I'm not going to be here. I'm looking. I'm taking notes. Or you can say, yes, and I'm bringing my friends. Because this is good stuff. This is reality. This is the truth. What you think is what you get. Joy is yours by divine right order. So, that's all I have to say today. But there's 3 or 4 more weeks of miracle conversation. And I'm noticing who's here. I love you all. I wish you a miraculous week. Namaste. So I would invite the practitioners to stand and help me hold the consciousness. Velma, will you join us, please? Zelma. I don't know why I call you Velma. Anyway, Zelma passed her practitioner's exam. Just waiting for the official word from the board of CSL to give her the card. Yeah, that's right. And the ceremony. So join with me as we turn within to that place where our consciousness meets the divine. That holy sacred place of creativity, that sacred holy space and place where miracles are created. And in that quiet, peaceful, sacred place, I only allow joyful, grateful, optimistic, peaceful thoughts. That's where I rest. That's where I live my life, whether I'm aware of it or not. And in that place, I absolutely allow thoughts that benefit, thoughts that bless, thoughts that are in alignment with the good that I expect in my life. I celebrate in that place the miracles that are coming together on my behalf. The good and the more good that is coming together for me, for those that I love, those that are in my awareness, and those that I am only vaguely aware of, the other 7 billion people on this planet. I know that my thoughts create peace. My thoughts create harmony. My thoughts create love. And in that deep place, I am fully connected with all. In that deep place is my awareness that there is only one whole, unified essence. There is no separation between anything. Me, you, my neighbors, my country people, the earth. It's all a whole. And in that deeply creative place, my thoughts are affecting all that is. And so from that place, I accept and assume my responsibility for good thoughts, powerfully optimistic, powerfully joyful, powerfully happy thoughts. It's my responsibility for myself, for those that I come in contact with, and for all of the earth, the universe. It's all one whole. So with joy, with anticipation, with excitement, I allow my heart to swell open, knowing that it is all good. Knowing that anything that appears otherwise is just a part of my imagination. So I hold to the truth, I hold to the reality, I celebrate the good. And I allow it to be. And I invite you to anchor that thought that idea, that knowing with me by declaring it done for yourself, as I declare it done for myself by saying, and